welcome everybody. Welcome to Performing Arts at Middlesex University, and it's really great that you've joined us today and that you have a keen interest in performing arts and the creative fields. We know that university can feel a little bit far away at the moment, and sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming with all of the different options that are available to you, but we think that it's a really exciting time and there are so many options that you have to choose from. So today we're going to be talking about performing arts in terms of the longevity of a career, the vibrancy that it has to offer in terms of a subject to study, and also hopefully inspire you by some of the stories of our graduate academic assistants of how they accessed their university programs and where that's led them as well. We want to stress that this is hopefully quite an informal conversation. We have tutors here from the university, and we also have our graduate academic assistants too, who are recent graduates, but do feel that you can engage with us throughout. You can see the Q&A function at the top of this Zoom call. So as we're talking, we've got lots of information that we're going to share with you. Do feel that you can ask questions throughout, and if you don't understand or you want us to go over things, then just ask, and we're very, very happy to pause and have a little bit of a conversation before we carry on. Okay, so my name is April Brown and I'm a lecturer at Middlesex University in dance, and then I'm going to open up for my colleagues as well to introduce themselves too.
What order though? I'm Bruce Adams. I'm a lecturer and programme leader on the theatre arts programmes. Because we're all in a different order on each other's Zoom windows. Shall we all hand over to the next person? So I'll hand over to Toby.
Hi everyone, I'm Toby. I'm a graduate academic assistant in theatre at Middlesex, and I graduated from the theatre course last year. And I'm going to hand over to Ruben, who is not called Toby, but has my name for today.
Yep, I'm the other Toby. Yeah, so I'm Ruben. I'm the graduate academic assistant for music at Middlesex. I'm a graduate of the jazz program. I graduated just under 3 years ago. I'm a jazz pianist, bassist, composer, organist, you name it. But yeah, just really glad to be back gigging again, finally. I'm going to hand over to Teresa.
Hello everyone, my name is Teresa. I'm the graduate academic assistant for dance, and I graduated from a contemporary dance course, not from Middlesex but from Larvin, but joined Middlesex in autumn last year and have been really enjoying working with everyone. I'm gonna hand over to Mark.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark. It's great to be here and to be with you. I am a songwriting lecturer at Middlesex and also teach on the BA Music business course as well. I'm a songwriter in my other job that I do, so I write songs for artists in the pop world, and also I'm a music manager, managing artists who are signed into sunny Germany and other places, so I'm doing a bit of both, but I love music, and it's just Middlesex has been a great place for me to share my skills, but also help develop students, and as they kind of looking for their careers in whatever they fancy in the music industry. So it's been a really great place to be.
Great,
and
thank
who
you.
am I going to pass on to?
Well, thank you everyone. Thank you for introducing yourselves. We thought we would start the panel discussion with hearing from our GAA, so Teresa, Toby and Ruben. They're going to share with you how they got into university to study performing arts, and also what took place for them in terms of what they learned, and kind of tips and things for you guys as you're thinking about creative study. So we're going to move on, and we're going to start with Ruben.
Okay. So the way I got into university to study jazz was I grew up in Norfolk, which doesn't have a very blossoming music community. So what I found was, while I was there, in high school and in college, I was very involved in music. in classical rock music and a bit of jazz as well. But what I found was most of the people I was working with there, the other students, had different different aspirations, they had different focuses. And so I wasn't able to sort of focus my efforts on what I really wanted to get into, which was jazz. And so what university offered me, and Middlesex specifically offered me, was just a really good step into the London jazz scene, which I wouldn't have otherwise had. It would have been quite a difficult journey straight from just straight out of college education in Norfolk, straight into the hard sort of professional gigging life. And so what I got at Middlesex was a really just a really strong community of artists and just people who were actually as passionate as I was about music and about jazz, but also who came from massive variety of backgrounds as well and had all kinds of influences. And that was just worth so much to me, to just have 3 years just in a really strong, well-knit community of people. And so from then I've been able to branch outside of the uni and make contacts outside of it, because in the end that's the most important thing. It's the most valuable thing you can have in the music industry is connections to other people. And so what you can see from the slide here is just some of the things I've gotten into, because I started out as a pianist and then over time took up the organ, which you can see in the top left. I've taken up funk. I've got a new band that I play that with. I also started up the double bass and played with a folk group for a while. But also what I really loved about coming here was that it taught me a really good lesson in the value of atmosphere at gigs. Because what I found is I've played so many of these small venues, like the picture in the middle was the tiniest venue, just tucked in a corner of Camden, but had the best atmosphere. And that I just have such brilliant memories. All of these pictures are from my time as a student, all but one of them. And you just get these brilliant experiences that sort of spur you on to do bigger things. That's all from me. I'll hand over. I'll stop talking.
No, that's great. It's really good. I was just going to add to. Do you find that being in London was like an advantage? Because obviously Middlesex is. Did that make a difference to you?
Absolutely. Because certainly as far as jazz goes, London is the place to be. I'm fairly safe in saying that applies to most arts right now. It's the place to be in this country, and so I found I felt like I had to get here just because everybody talks about coming here and about all the venues, all the people, all the musicians, all the established musicians I knew in Norfolk when I was growing up used to always tell me come to London, and they were constantly giving me advice and just telling me please get there. So yeah, I feel like it was very advantageous, and the great thing about this place is it'll give you every opportunity that you need, providing you're willing to get out the front door every morning and go and get it.
Oh, okay. Hello. How I got into uni, and there are some sort of strange similarities between me and Ruben in a way. Obviously, he's an ex-music student, and I'm an ex-theatre student. But the kind of the way in and the advice. I was just listening to that story, and there are some parallels. I grew up in a very rural area, but I was always very interested in theatre and performing and arts in general. And I had always really wanted to study in London and try to network and meet people and become a part of the theatre scene in London. So that was the first thing that kind of drew me towards looking at universities in the London area. But as a lot of people do when they're thinking of trying out acting, I was looking at a lot of drama schools. as well as universities, because it seemed like that was the general advice I was given, that you need to look at drama schools to become an actor. And the other thing with me is that I also was quite interested in directing and writing too. I wasn't particularly set on one of those three. I was interested in the whole kind of composition of theatre. So I was a little bit open to what was offered from the various institutions, but I was interested in Middlesex from the moment I was recommended them by my tutor actually at college. And when I came to Middlesex and did the day where you kind of we do workshops instead of like classic drama school auditions for theatre. When we did that workshop and I spent the day here, it just felt very creative and collaborative, and like there were loads of kind of disciplines all in the same room working together. It was unlike anything I'd really done before for drama school type auditions, and I just realized that for me personally that was the kind of atmosphere I wanted to work in, where I could kind of feel like all the disciplines are kind of working together and you're making these connections with people, not just as fellow actors but fellow directors, designers, so forth. So that's kind of how I ended up at Middlesex. And then, yeah, since studying here and during studying here, I was, because you're in London and just like jazz, as Ruben was saying, you know, it's kind of a melting pot of, you know, culture and arts. There's so many different things going on. As a theatre student at Middlesex, you become very quickly absolutely encapsulated with, particularly I think, the fringe theatre scene, which again is like is so worth getting to know. And through that, some friends of mine who are a bit older than me, in like third year when I started, or second year, I managed to get little jobs with them on productions on fringe circuits. These two photos are top ones from a show we did early 2020, before the world went funny, at an awesome place called The Space in East London. And the bottom photos from a show that we did with a group of friends that we now have a theatre company together. So it just kind of, it's very organic, just kind of being in a place like London and meeting all these people. And I feel like Middlesex kind of, theatre at Middlesex really makes you aware of how important collaboration is. And if you kind of are able to take that on board, you make these connections and get these opportunities without even trying, kind of, because you're just committing yourself to the art. So that's kind of how I kind of got into Middlesex and my little journey through. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Toby. I can see actually while you're talking, the Q&A has something in the chat. So I just wondered if Nessie, if we got a question for Toby, or
Oh yeah, I can see a question actually. Yes.
Oh, are you guys happy to read it, or do you want me to read it out?
I can read it out if
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so hi, I'm an international student and I wanted to know what the entry requirements are for a foundation year for music. And do I need to take theatre and dance, or can I only take music? Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, good questions there.
So, well, Mark, I don't know if you'd like to speak to the music side of that question.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely just take music. From what I understand, but I'm gonna, Ruben, is there anything we can put into the chat here, just to, like, for entry requirements for foundation year?
Sure. Yep. I can do that.
Great.
Yeah. If I put that into the chat, or I'll post a link.
Yeah. So it's usually about 56 UCAS points, or whatever the equivalent is in terms of what qualification you're studying at the moment, and we'll give you a link to kind of look at that tariff. And our foundation program is connected to all of the performing arts subjects. So it's the foundation year in performing arts, but within that you focus on your specialism. So you'll be doing that as a music student, but you'll be in contact with theatre and dance students throughout that year. And then when you finish the foundation year, you move straight into the music program, and then you specialise as a music student for the rest of your time with us.
Yeah, really good question.
Thanks, Bruce.
Cool. I hope that answers the question for you. But thank you for posting in the Q&A, and do post any more questions that any of you have. Yeah. Cool.
Mesmerised by that very jazz handy photo of Toby, which is knowing Toby slightly out of character.
It is. Well, you know, that's acting, of course. Yeah. I think that's all from me. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Toby.
That's all right.
And yeah, do continue to engage with the chat. It's really, really nice to hear from you as you're listening. So continue to do so, and we'll chat to you throughout. I'm going to hand over to Teresa now. She's going to talk about her pathway into dance.
Yeah, hello everyone. So my pathway into dance has some similarities and some differences. I did my A-levels in England, but I'm originally from Germany, so I think I walked a bit blindly into how higher education works in the UK, and I don't think had maybe that much information, and I think I was just really, really passionate about dance, and that's just all I wanted to do. I just wanted to dance, doesn't matter where. That's just, yeah, so I kind of walked quite blindly into my higher education. I trained at Laban, and yeah, it was, I think what really struck me was I came in with the idea of I wanted to be a performer and a dancer, and actually studying my subject made me realize that I had so many more skills and so many more things that I could be, and realizing kind of that my idea of myself could be so much bigger than it was. Like, I can be a dance maker, I can be creative in so many different ways that I didn't even realize. And I think for me that was the main thing, that studying dance, I didn't just become a better dancer or better technically, or a better performer. I learned to be more better at communication, writing, reflection, talking in front of people. I can teach a class. Like, there's so many things that I learned that I didn't even realize I could learn. And I think that was the most, or continues to be the most important thing, how many options it gave me in terms of who I can be and where my career can take me. Yeah, and that was really special for me. And it was also really great to join Middlesex and kind of get the experience or learn about what dance is like at university, and kind of the community and like the different subjects. And it also offers you something very vibrant and rich. Yeah, and that's been really an interesting kind of journey for me personally. I think that's kind of it, unless there's specific questions. And yeah, the pictures are a mixture between me performing during my time studying and afterwards, and some work I made, and yeah, lots of fun dance things.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And I think what's really lovely to hear actually is that change in your expectation of self and what you can do, and almost raise it. We talk about raising aspirations a lot when we work with schools about, you know, thinking, challenging yourself to think bigger and really know that you can, you know, you can go for it. And what's lovely to hear as well, and something not to gloss over, is that transformation that happens when you arrive at university as well, through studying that. Yes, of course, it's all about the subject that you're learning about. We all love our disciplines very much, and they take place at Middlesex really well, but there is so much more than, you know, the subject that you're studying, in terms of that that flourishingness that happens as you as a human being, through meeting new people, working in a different environment, being able to engage with, you know, professionally, kind of professional standard facilities, and that growth that takes place as you as an artist, but also as a human being, and a citizen in a world that is perhaps a lot greater and full of a lot more possibility than perhaps you even imagined. before when you were applying as well. And I think that's really special. So thank you for raising that, Teresa. Have we got any more questions that perhaps people want to add into the Q&A function? I can see a couple of people have joined us since we started the talk, which is great. And there's been some really inspirational stories from Toby. I'm going to say Toby, Ruben and Teresa. But yeah, do continue to engage in the chat, and we're going to segue perhaps now into focusing in a little bit more detail about the courses on offer at Middlesex.
Well, one of the things, I mean, I had a bit of a question for all three of you, because one of the things that came through when all three of you were talking about your experience was that sense of community and togetherness that April was just talking about. And I know that for me, you know, kind of coming to university was, you know, it is about learning, it's about learning skills, it's about developing your kind of your practice. But so much I think about university and what university offers you is that 3 years of safe space to grow and become, it sounds really vague, but to become someone and to become part of a community. And I know that, you know, we could talk for hours about all the things that we do to really foster that community, that it doesn't happen by accident, but we really foster that and develop that. I mean, there's lots of things that we do for that. But I wonder if maybe there are any particular observations you might have about that feeling of community when you were studying and how that helped you.
Yeah, I mean, I just something I don't know. I think from a theatre perspective, that kind of feeling of community is doubly important, because obviously it is just about you kind of becoming the person you want to be, learning with others whilst you're at uni, but also just theatre itself is fundamentally something you generally do with other people. You work in a team, and it's kind of it's such an important part of like developing your skills that you have other people to develop them with, and that, you know, you are in a safe space to try stuff out. And I definitely feel like, from my perspective, there was never a time when it felt like you weren't part of that kind of theatre community when I was studying here. It was you'd be kind of a part of this amazing group of people who are all doing very different things, but through that you're kind of all supporting each other and learning things from each other, getting opportunities from each other as well. And yeah, I think the staff do, you know, the lecturers make sure that they kind of are really supportive of those communities, and there are loads of opportunities to kind of do stuff outside of like your module lessons to kind of strengthen those like groups you're making, maybe potential theatre companies in future, stuff like that.
Even that picture of you being all jazz handy, that was a piece that you volunteered to be in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Someone else doing a directing module, and you volunteered to act in their piece on top of all the things that you were doing at uni. So all of those experiences, they just kind of happen all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's through just kind of, you know, being with everyone, knowing everyone, and sort of becoming friends with people.
And through that, you got to go and perform, you know, on a tour and in industry. So you can build all of these links that last. I can't say your whole life because I haven't lived my whole life, but definitely since I've been out of uni, all of those links are so important. That's the bedrock of certainly my career.
Yeah. Absolutely, I'd agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, following on from that, I also have the same experience, that it was a really amazing to get to know so many people, like-minded people, interested in the same things, and that kind of energy you give each other. And yeah, I've continued to stay in touch with my fellow graduates, and lots of opportunities have come from that. And just during your studies, you get to know so many amazing, inspiring, creative people who are interested and passionate in the same things as you are. And yeah, it's just really nice that you can talk about dance all the time, or theatre and music, and you don't bore the people around you. They're just as excited as you are, and kind of get you thinking. And yeah, you get to know about things that maybe you wouldn't have thought about before.
Great, thank you so much. I can see we've got something in the Q&A. Have we got a question from those questions?
Yeah, I think it's a follow-up on the foundation. So it's about by being in contact with dance and theatre students, presumably on the foundation year, does that mean I work with them using music, or do I do the dancing and acting? You have the opportunity, and I think this is something that's built into all of our degrees, you have the opportunity to go beyond what your specialism is, to go beyond music if that's what you want to do, or beyond dancing and acting, but you don't have to. The courses are designed both ways. And you need, for A levels for the foundation year, I think it's DEE, you need a D and 2 E's as a minimum, or any equivalent in terms of BTECs or international qualifications.
Mm-hmm. And I think the same will apply for all of the undergraduate programs as well. There's the entry tariff, the entry requirements on the undergraduate course pages, which I think somebody's put in the chat, but if you go on the university website and then put in the subject you want to study in the search bar, information will come up. But it's important to note as well that we're very aware that this last year has been exceptionally difficult, and there's been a lot of challenges and change that has impacted on education, whether you're in school or, you know, in a different position, gap year and things. So all of our programs have a very flexible and personal approach to admissions, and we very much take into account personal obstacles and things, circumstances that you've had to face. So if what you see on the website in terms of entry requirements is something that doesn't quite match where you're at the moment, we would all really encourage you to reach out to the tutor that's listed as being aligned to that programme and just have a conversation with them, or call the admissions team, because there's always another way we can advise you, or we can, because we are practical subjects as well, we're looking at your skills, not just your grades. So do reach out and we can have a conversation with you one-to-one. Okay, we've done quite a bit of talking, so we thought maybe we would share with you a short film which hopefully animates some of the things that we've spoken about and touched upon already in terms of the vibrancy and diversity that a day in the life might feel like. It's following the pathway of a theatre arts student, but I think it's very relevant for all of our subjects, that no day is ever the same. And that's something probably we all love about working at the university as well.
Ruben, have you put your hand up deliberately?
Yes, I have. Sorry, we've just got another question in the Q&As. Do you think we should just answer that quickly first?
Program.
Okay?
I think we're coming up to talking about the different programs. So what I might do is answer that question when we get to that.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's frozen on me. Can you hear me still, or have I frozen?
Yeah,
still
the
video is frozen.
You can hear me, but the video. It's been a tough year, I think, for Zoom. Maybe with video shared out, I'm going to have one go, but yeah, I'm getting the rainbow wheel, which is never a good sign, is it? Okay.
Oh, that's charming. That's a charming screen.
I might move on to more static shots. They might be a little bit more reliable. Things are freezing on me a little bit. There we go. Okay. As Bruce said, so apologies that was a bit glitchy. Now I've got the loading wheel, but we're going to move into talking more specifically about the programmes in dance, theatre and music at Middlesex, to give you a little bit of an insight of what's on offer.
So with theatre, we have 2 entry programmes. So we have theatre performance and production and theatre design and production. So you can join us on either one of those. And we have an exit award in directing, which you can change on to in your 3rd year if that's something that you're interested in. So even though we have these 3 different programmes, it's one community. Like we've mentioned before, like you experience the degrees in one shared community, and you're always working with each other, performing, designing, directing each other's work. And the way that we structure our courses is around this idea that theatre is this living art form that's always changing, never more so in the last year. Like the way that theatre has just transformed in the last year alone is amazing. So we don't want to be the kind of institution, and I think this is true of all of the courses, not only in the Performing Arts Department, but at Middlesex as a whole. We don't want to be the kind of place that kind of creates these cookie cutter graduates that kind of fits this predetermined idea of what the industry is, what the jobs are. We want you to actually go out and decide for yourself, what is the future of theatre? What is the future of this discipline? So that's what our courses are about. And it's built on this kind of collaborative approach where you're always working and making together, but combined with a lot of individual focus and attention, where there's flexibility built into every part of the program to allow you to explore what you want to explore through your choices of modules, through the projects that you do, through the specialisms that you choose, so that you can really define yourself and be the creative professional that you want to be. So we kind of have a bit of a best of both approach. We have that really practice and production-led approach like a drama school, but we combine that with that critical creative thinking that you only get in a university setting. So you can act, design, direct, write in any combination. You can go as deep as you like into, you can just act and just learn about the other disciplines, or you can work across a combination of them. And that's what happens a lot is students come and they realize that they're a combination of things, this unique combination of different disciplines. And that's what makes them more employable, because it means that they have all of these different skills so that there's always work to find. So it's not like you're, you know, that old story of being an actor, and they say that if actors spend 10% of their time on the job and 90% of their time working in bars, it's not true. It doesn't have to work like that, because when you have lots of different skills, it means you can always be in the room just doing different things. So yeah, we combine that skills and technique training with that wider understanding of the industry, and that's why the degrees are called performance and production, design and production, because you have those specialist skills, but also the knowledge about how to put that into practice, how to produce work, how to make it happen. So yeah, well, I had a question. I won't go too deeply into the structure of the courses, but I did have a question about the 3rd year from someone who's been accepted into the 3rd year, which is fantastic. So when you get into the 2nd and 3rd year, you study 4 modules in each year. One of them is always an industry module that looks at how the theatre industry works and kind of develops your professional skills. The other one is a project module. So you work together with everybody on the course to make a big major production. And then you have a specialist module in your area. So if you're on the performance program, it will be in acting. If you're on the design program, design or a directing one in the 3rd year. And then there's a free choice of another module so that you can choose to do something a bit different. You can, or you can choose to do an independent project. So yeah, that's how the 3rd year works, and the degree as a whole. He rambles. He'll stop rambling now.
That was really good. Thank you for that information. Really good.
Shall we move on to music?
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, no, we've got an amazing music department at Middlesex that we're really, really proud of, and we've been working on for many years, and we have some brilliant facilities at Middlesex. We've got amazing studios, and just an awful lot of piano rooms and rehearsal spaces that you can come and use, and which has been great. You know, you kind of to just be able to come in and use the all the spaces. It really kind of and then obviously collaborate with other people in your classes and your groups is brilliant too. So I've got like a few things to run through that I just kind of wanted to run through. I think kind of the whole collaboration thing for us at Middlesex is a big one. We really kind of value that. We know how in the music industry is very much is a collaborative one. It's I work in the music industry myself, and my whole, like, the networks that you build at university, you often take through to into your careers, and people that you'll kind of get to meet will go on to do other things, and you'll do things together, and we also encourage kind of collaboration across different pathways as well. So we do jazz and classical and popular music. My field is mainly popular. That's the kind of commercial music stuff that I'm doing, and this includes kind of songwriting and music production, kind of composing for films, all of this stuff, and it's just a really exciting course. I think one of the things that we do is we really make sure that we bring in kind of guest speakers. That's a massive part of what we do, and we again, we're in London, so often we can bring kind of guest speakers into Middlesex. Recently we've been doing Zooms, which has been fantastic. We've had kind of guest speakers from Sony Germany. We've had a guy called Lost Boy who had kind of like had like 6 #1 records recently. He came in to chat to students and was showing a song that he wrote for Lewis Capaldi that went to Rita Ora, and he showed the whole kind of how that progressed, and it was really fascinating. And so we're really about connecting kind of students with the industry, like, early on. We feel that's really important, and also just to kind of it kind of helps you kind of understand what the music industry is about, and these guest sessions are often, you can ask lots of questions and build relationships as well. But I guess from a music perspective, in the first year, you're kind of trying lots of different things out, and you're learning lots of different things. And we want in the first year especially want to give you lots of different kind of options, and then you can kind of figure out which of those options you love. So if you love songwriting, you might move to do more songwriting in second year and third year, and the same with the other modules like music production and things like that. So we really want to kind of make sure that that your time is really, like, this 3 years is so kind of important to, and we want to kind of help you find what you love. So if you want to be a songwriter, we'll really kind of help you get to that place, and make sure that by the end you've got like a really fantastic portfolio of work that's kind of industry ready. So because we have great studios and because we have great facilities, we can kind of help you create these demos that you'd be able to use going forward. And we've also during the kind of the lockdown, we kind of just we started working with Soundtrap, and it's basically Spotify have a kind of music studio that is online, which is fantastic. So we started working with them with students, and kind of, so it's like a studio that you can access online, and you can work with the students around the uni, but just all online. It's fascinating piece of software, but it's all just online, so you don't have to kind of upload it to your computer. So it's really good for people who are kind of waiting for waiting to get their Logic software or whatever software they're using in music. I'm gonna carry on a tiny bit longer. We have like open mic nights. Like we love kind of giving you opportunities to perform your stuff, and whether sometimes we do gigs in London as well, but we love kind of open mics, and we have one I think one happens every week roughly, or once a month depending on what time of term it is. But yeah, just a space where you can just share your music, what you're working on. And then the other thing was that, like, for all of the lecturers at Middlesex, and I know this is across the board, we're all kind of doing music or so we're doing what we love. So kind of I'm working in the music industry. I'm managing artists who are signed to major labels. I'm working as a songwriter, working with artists that are signed, and doing well. And I think across the board, all Middlesex really encourages the staff to be out there doing stuff, and really get behind us. I had to go on a trip. I didn't have to go, but I was invited to go to LA on a trip to write songs for 2 weeks. And, it was during a time where, just as the term was ending, and I was able to go there, but it was, Middlesex were very encouraging of that. They didn't say, oh, no, you can't go. They actually want they want the staff to kind of grow as well. So we're kind of alongside you, kind of the students growing as students and learning the things that all the things you want to do. We're also kind of growing in our kind of specialisms, which is, I think, such a massive, exciting thing, because it keeps us all really current and fresh, and keeps us excited about what we love. And we obviously love what we do, and we love kind of our own, if some of us are dancers and musicians, we love that. But we love developing you. The reason why we do this job is because we love students, and we really kind of want to see you kind of progress in your careers, whatever that might look like. We want to kind of see you progress, and it's a massive part of Middlesex. We really value your time with us, and we want to support you during that time. So I've gone off on one. I'm going to stop there.
No, but that's great, because that's kind of what university is about, and what makes university different and a step up from being like at school or at college, because it goes from being a place where you go and you are taught to a place where the point of university is to learn together. You're in a community of peers rather than this kind of teacher-student hierarchy thing that students are used to. You come into this community where we're learning and working together, and we work with each other as equals, students and staff in a room together, solving problems, working stuff out. That's what's so distinctive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I'm going to pass back to April.
Thank you, Mark. And it's so infectious, actually, even hearing everyone talk, like the smile that you have on your face and the enthusiasm when we're talking. I think that's really lovely to see as well. It's a very visible enthusiasm that we have to what we're doing as well. Okay, so to be honest, lots probably of what we would say in terms of dance at Middlesex has been touched upon already for the other subjects. But we're one of the top universities in the UK for dance. We're really proud of the provision that we have at Middlesex, and as others have said already, and I think this goes for all of our programmes, that we're very much kind of straddling that parameter between high-level vocational training in terms of the practical offering that we have, but is very much underpinned by the kind of versatility and critical thinking and theoreticalness that comes with a university programme. So you'll be taught by a team of industry professionals, as Mark has said so eloquently. We're all working in the industry. Everyone has had very successful careers, and they're still working, and that's very much being brought into the studio, into the space, so that what we're offering you and working with you is very current and in reference to what's happening at the moment into the fields that you're going to enter into. We're really lucky to have really fantastic spaces. We do have a really wonderful film actually which shows them, but I'm going to hold off from sharing that because I've got a bit of fear after what happened on the last one. But yeah, we have 5 really beautiful dance studios. They're kind of professional standard, sprung floors, mirrors, ballet bars, everything that you'd expect if you were studying at a university. We have a state-of-the-art dance theatre as well, where we have lots of performance opportunities for our students, and that space is just for our dancers, so they make their own work and present it in the dance theatre, and then we also create performances on them to have kind of a semi-professional company experience, and they perform in that space as well. I guess always a highlight of the provision, which people are very enthusiastic about, is the range of dance training that you engage with as part of our course. So we will teach you in ballet, improvisation, release techniques, the pioneering modern dance techniques of Humphrey, Cunningham and Graham. We also have an urban provision where you'll do locking house, Afro house, crump breaking and street jazz. And you will also engage in a lot of choreographic and collaborative projects where you'll be making your own work, learning about how to make and making approaches to making. And we do that through working with other creative disciplines such as photography and fashion, music, fine art, interiors and architecture as well. And then you also go and make work potentially in external spaces and venues as well. So it's a really vibrant provision. You do lots and lots of different things. And I think as Teresa was talking about her experience of studying dance in higher education, that we're very much looking to, I guess, open up our students' eyes to the possibilities of dance and how it sits within the creative industry. So professional practice and employability is at the forefront. I think this probably goes for all of our programs, that as everyone said already, right from when you arrive, we're very aware that creative subjects can come sometimes with a lot of precariousness and stigma in terms of what you can go on to do and careers, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, but there is such a range of things that you can do. And yes, you're studying dance or music or theatre, but as part of these courses, there is so much on offer that supports and underpins that practice. So you'll learn about, you know, how the subjects are where they are in terms of the histories. For us in dance, we look at science in terms of the body and anatomy, looking after yourself. We do a lot in terms of you as an artist and entrepreneur, so looking at your skills in terms of your CV, presenting yourself as an artist, where you can apply for jobs, what jobs are on offer, and working with people in the field as well, kind of spotlighting different careers and areas in the profession as well, so that you have the opportunity to choose where you would like to specialise, but you also are aware that you don't have to just do one thing. And I think graduates of the performing arts are very well versed in doing lots of different things. And that doesn't mean that the things that you do are any less than the other, that you are training multifacetedly. So you're engaging in a practice that is constantly challenging you as a human being, and it's making you engage with the world around you and learn from the people that you're working alongside. And in doing that, it makes you a better person in how you're aware of the world and your compassion and empathy, but also it makes you really employable because you're creative, forward thinking, aware, able to problem solve, as everyone said. And what better a time to be a good problem solver than now? So hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview really of dance and also music and theatre. I think it's important to note, the question came up earlier, that with the exception of the foundation year, which is very much looking at the performing arts as an entry route into your chosen subject, the three disciplines do sit as standalone provisions. There is absolutely the opportunity for you to collaborate and move outside of your discipline, but the courses do, I guess, like major in that subject. It's not a performing arts provision. But this panel discussion today is hopefully looking to inspire you all to continue to study creative subjects, and also spotlight what's on offer in terms of if you wanted to do performing arts in dance, theatre or music at a university, and kind of the level and quality that is available to you if that's a choice that you choose to follow. That's quite a lot of talking. So I thought we could perhaps stop the share here and see if we can go to Q&A, or we can move into tips. How does that sound? Yeah.
Perhaps while we're seeing if there are any questions on the Q&A, we could talk a little bit about entry, because that's what a lot of the questions we've had already are about.
Absolutely.
And maybe we could talk a little bit about the entry requirements and how you actually get onto the three different courses. if you think that's a good idea.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
So I think I'm right in saying that our kind of entry tariff is the same for all the performing arts courses. So generally, if you're applying, you apply by UCAS, and the tariff is, I think, 112 UCAS points, and we accept all kinds of any qualification on that tariff. So it can be a BTEC, it can be A levels, and any kind of vocational qualification or equivalent experience, especially if we're working with mature students. So like April says, if there's something that doesn't quite fit in terms of that, just talk to us, because what we're looking for is you to be engaged and interested more than your qualifications. So you apply to the course that you want to do via UCAS. Then if you're applying for theatre, we would then invite you to an interview day. So we don't do auditions. I think Toby mentioned this when he was talking a bit earlier. So we do an interview day. So instead of getting you to do that thing where you learn a speech and then you do the 2-minute speech and it depends on what you had for breakfast and how nervous you're feeling that day, we don't feel that's a really good way of seeing who you are as a creative person. So instead you come in and you just spend a day in our spaces working with our staff, working with some students and other applicants, and you just make a piece of theatre together. So you start from nothing, and then by the end of the day you'll be in one of our spaces with performance and light and set and costume, and you will have made essentially a play in a day. And that for us is a really good way of seeing how you communicate, how you collaborate, what you're interested in, and then you can see how we work as well and get a sense of what it would actually be like to be a student with us. So it's not in any way a test, it's just a taste of what we do, and we can get a taste of how you work. So that's how you get into the theatre courses.
I think that's really nice to mention as well. You're saying about like it's not a test in terms of skills, but it's looking at really being able to understand who our applicants are and what they're interested in. I think it's important to say that we've said a lot of things, and the graduate academic assistants have done really well. They're very successful, and it's important to note as well that they have had their higher education courses, they're graduates now. So we're not expecting you to have all of these skills or to have all of this information on arrival. And it's really okay if you're listening today and you don't know what things mean, or we're talking about things that feel a little bit unclear or a little bit, further away. That's what the courses are there to do. So we are looking for you to be really interested and have kind of an interest and be able to talk about what you're interested in, and also be able to know, hopefully, what you've done and the skills that you have to offer. And it's our job, really, to foster you as an emerging artist and really encourage your individuality and for you to discover your potential while you're with us. So for dance, in terms of audition, I mean, the last year has been online because of showreels and stuff, but we're moving into a much more positive place now in terms of being able to come and join us on campus. So the same as theatre arts, you will apply via UCAS. You'll be called to a workshop day. You'll have kind of a talk in the morning. You'll be able to see all of our dance studios and watch some of our students taking classes. And then in the afternoon, you'll take part in a dance workshop, which will be led by a tutor. So you'll take part in a dance class. And as part of that class, there'll be an opportunity for you to move in a way that you feel showcases your skills. It might be that you make a small phrase of movement or an improvised section. But very similar to theatre arts, we aren't expecting you to prepare a solo or do a spotlighted audition piece. It's very quite informal and looking to offer you an experience where you can find out if we're right for you, and also giving you an opportunity to engage with our course, and we can see you move and have a chat to you, really.
I should also add that our interview day, we're also going to, if you're an international student or if coming to London is difficult, we're going to introduce the option of doing that as a virtual workshop, or you can send in a portfolio as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on campus. And that's something we're working on for next year.
Great, and I'll just add into music. So similar to to theatre and dance as regards to you know, UCAS and that, but also again, you come to uni for kind of an afternoon, and you can spend some time with us. And again, it's a real time for you to kind of get to know us and us to get to know you. And there's usually a few other people that you might end up being students with, that would be there, and you get to see all the studios and see kind of, we give you a real kind of more in-depth detail about the courses and how they run and what you'll be doing, and you'll get to meet some of the more of the staff. And then we do go off into the smaller groups, like one-to-one kind of interview types things, but it's a bit more informed, a bit more relaxed. You'll probably be in a piano room, and I'll be listening. You can share some of the music if you wanted to. You might have created something before. You might have sent an MP3 of a song that you've written, or you might have sent a song that you've performed on. Again, we're not looking for, like, you know, incredible kind of studio recordings. You know, this could be just, you know, just whatever you manage to do, whether it's a recording in your school or whatever it was. We're not looking for amazing recordings, and if you can't record, then, you know, you are welcome to share something with us, and we kind of keep it really relaxed. Again, you know, the music students are very much your artists, and it's kind of our job we want to develop you, we want to help you develop. And so we're not here to kind of, you know, it's not like in an audition type vibe. It's very different. It's more like if you were, you know, going to work with a producer, and they were going to sit and listen to your music and talk about what do you actually want to do, and some of you won't know what you want to do straight away. But again, you know, we really hope that you'll find that while you're with us. But if you do know what you want to do, we can, again, you know, help you in that audition and talk to you about what options you might have going forward. But it's very informal kind of vibe, and again, you know, we really want you to, we realize that we're all creatives, and it's supposed to be fun like this. You know, you're coming to university to spend 3 years of your time, you know, with us, and it's about, yes, there's going to be a lot of hard work. Yes, you know, whichever creative industry you go into, if you want to reach the highest level, it is a lot of work, and you have to put a lot of work in, but it should be a lot of fun as well. So we you know, again, we're very chilled out and relaxed, but at the same time, you know, we want to help kind of develop, and we want to see you get to where you want to get to. So yeah,
I think it's true of all of the degrees. That level of individual attention is something that we really offer, that's different to kind of when you're on a course where there's hundreds of people and the lecturer doesn't know everybody personally. Like, we know all of our students by name, we work closely with you all as individuals, and that starts on the day that you come and meet us for your interview. We get a sense of who you are, what you're interested in, and that's just the start of that story for the next 3 years about what's the next thing we can do, what's the next step, how can we develop you and help you grow. So you have that really tailored relationship that lasts not only the whole time you're at university, but also beyond, because you become part of this creative community at Middlesex, and you become a lifetime member of that community. So yeah, I think that's really valuable.
Yeah. Great. Well, look at how's that for a concluding statement, Reese? 10 to 5, just as you finished. But thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for the questions that you've come with. Hopefully it's been insightful, offered you some information that perhaps you didn't know before, or at least maybe just rallied you on to keep going with your interests. And I think we can all say that it's just wonderful that you are interested in performing arts, and we would highly encourage you to continue your studies and engagement with the creative industries, and hopefully it leads you on to wonderful things. If you are interested about studying any of the subjects today at Middlesex, this wasn't a formal course talk. This is very much kind of information, and hopefully encouraging you to think about things further. Go on to the Middlesex University website, have a look at the course pages, and you can log on, register for an undergraduate open day, or you can reach out to one of the course tutors and have an email exchange with them directly, and they can give you more information. And I think as well, all of our programs have social media accounts, and they tend to be probably the most up to date with what's going on and what our students are doing, their graduate success stories and kind of what goes on. So we'd encourage you to follow us on Instagram. Is that right for everybody? Twitter, Instagram, I've got getting thumbs up from music.
Yeah.
Same for you, Bruce. And
website.
yeah, we'll maybe make a post today and the university can share it, so you can find us on Instagram as well.
Yeah. The world needs artists. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Well, it's been such a pleasure to spend time with my colleagues here, and thank you so much for coming. And yeah, it's been really great to kind of talk to you.
Same. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Best of luck, everyone, on your creative endeavours, and hopefully we will see you soon at an open day or a workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.